Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And we are once again talking about college hoops, and once again, 4 straight days that we found ourselves in the green. You gotta love it, and man, oh man, it should have been a sweep here on Monday. We got hooked on Houston Christian. They had an 11-point halftime lead, and that even expanded to a bigger lead in the second half. And that's actually 2 bets over the last 2 days that we've lost by a combined 1 point. Yesterday, Wright State, today, Houston Christian. But again, I'm not going to get on here and complain too much about it because those good beats come around as well. And I'm not going to be complaining about those when those hit. But with all that being said, y'all, we have a fantastic Tuesday slate here. We actually have 10 bets on this Tuesday slate because of so many different games, so many different angles. It's kind of unfortunate how college basketball schedule makers kind of schedule these things out because there's some jam-packed slates. There's some slates like Monday and Friday where there's no games whatsoever. And when you're looking at this Tuesday slate, I think we're going to have a really fun time with it. But before we jump into the picks, I do have to shout out today's sponsor, which is Underdog Fantasy. And if you guys already follow me over on Twitter/X at RobDFB, make sure you go over there and follow me on there because we're going to have a pick'em entry for this awesome Tuesday slate on Underdog Fantasy. And again, if you haven't already signed up using promo code RobDFB, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a fantastic platform, and I have so much fun with it. But with all that being said, y'all, I'm ready to hop into these Tuesday picks. All right, first up, we are heading out to the Missouri Valley Conference where we have Drake taking on Murray State. And Drake has been one of the best teams in all of college basketball this season. They were the first team to hit 20 wins in the entire landscape of college basketball this past weekend. And when you're looking at this matchup here, I do think at some point Drake is going to get got when they go on the road because they play that North Texas, old school Virginia style of basketball where if you're not making shots late in your possessions, there's a potential for a team to jump out on you, even with you playing good defense. I do think that Murray State has the kind of makeup to be a problem. And again, we don't need Murray State to win here. We just need them to kind of open it up early and then maybe hang on the back end of this game. And for that reason, I love taking the 5 points. So let's do it for 3 units for our first bet here on Tuesday. For pick number 2, we are heading out to Iowa City, where we have Iowa taking on Purdue. And in this matchup, and the last time we bet on the Hawkeyes, you guys kind of got on me. I mean, it's not like it's a secret, but I am an Iowa alum. I am an Iowa fan. And we have bet on them and bet against them this season, and we've made money in both directions. And I will say, I'm pretty objective when it comes to this team. I'm kind of in the camp that wants to move on from Fran McCaffrey. And when you are looking at this game and kind of factoring in that the players on the court are really starting to hear that noise about wanting to move on from Fran, I do think at some point we are going to see that kind of play-up spot for their coach. I mean, we just saw it in Lexington, Kentucky on Saturday when Coach Cal in Arkansas went into Rupp and won that game decisively. And at some point, do I think that Iowa is going to, go on a tear? Probably not. But at the same time, I do think we're going to see a little bit of pride down the stretch here. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take the 7.5 points here with the Hawkeyes. And for an additional half unit, I say we go ahead and take a stab here on the money line here as well. For pick number 3, we are heading out to the MAC, where we have Miami of Ohio taking on Central Michigan. And Miami of Ohio has been one of the more surprising teams in mid-major basketball this season under Lexington Steele. And the big reason why is nobody really expected them to be here, and yet they're competing at the top end of this conference. Now, on the other side, Central Michigan has been playing some of their best ball as of late, and they're coming off a major win on Saturday over Bowling Green, where they absolutely laid the hammer from wire to wire. And when you're looking at this game and kind of seeing a short line, despite the win-loss records really, I guess, being a little bit of a drastic difference there, I do feel like that's a pretty clear indicator that Central Michigan has a little bit of a home edge here. So let's go ahead and take the 1.5 points with the Chippewas for 2 units for our third bet here on Tuesday. 4, pick number 4, we're heading down to Gainesville, Florida, where we have Vanderbilt taking on the Gators, and this is a pretty hefty line here, and I do feel like, given how well Vanderbilt has played, and I really do think that this is a turning point in that program, and Mark Byington, man, hat tip, clap your hands. Dude, this guy has been fantastic, but at the same time, Florida is coming off that bad loss against Tennessee where they only scored 44 points. I do feel like this is a veteran-heavy lineup, a very talented lineup, and they're going to take some pride in having a little bit of a regrouping effort in this game, and Vanderbilt defensively is not going to be able to offer a lot of resistance against the guards and the length that Florida has to offer. I am all over the Gators here, and I say we go ahead and lay the 12 points for 4 units for our fourth play here on Tuesday. 4, pick number 5, we're heading down to Oxford, Mississippi, where we have Kentucky taking on Ole Miss. And last time we saw both of these teams, they were kind of coming up a little bit disappointed because Kentucky obviously had Arkansas in their building going up against Coach Cal, and they laid an absolute egg. And then Ole Miss, they were right there down the stretch against the number 1 team in the country, had them a little bit on the ropes, and then as that game sort of unwinded, they just couldn't get back on track. And when you're looking at this game, I do feel like when you come up short against a team like an Auburn at home and you're building with so much juice, you can kind of emotionally fall flat in that second game out. And Kentucky here has a point to prove. They've been kind of losing a lot of games as of late, 3 of their last 4, and I do think they keep it close. We're getting 4.5 points. I say we take them for 2 units for our 5th bet here on Tuesday. 4, pick number 6, we are heading out to Dayton, Ohio, where we have the Flyers taking on Davidson. And Dayton, I think, really found something last Friday when we bet on them against St. Louis. They came into that game as a slight underdog and really showed why they've been the cream of the crop in this league for over a decade now. And when you're looking at this game and this line truly feels like an old school Dayton line where they are just going to absolutely pummel the team in front of them. I want to buy in. I want to buy into that bounce back. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and lay the 8.5 points here for 4 units for our 6th bet here on Tuesday. 4, pick number 7, we are heading out to Clemson, South Carolina, where we have Georgia Tech playing the Clemson Tigers. And this is a very interesting game because Clemson has a big look-ahead spot on deck as they have Duke coming in their home building here on Saturday. And spoiler alert, we will be betting on the Clemson Tigers, not only to cover on Saturday, but to win outright. I do feel like Duke is undertested, but we'll get to that when it comes around in terms of that actual individual game. But when you are looking at this game, yes, Georgia Tech is coming off of a big upset win over Louisville, but I kind of want to view that game in this capacity as sort of a building block for the back half of this season, and they're getting 13.5 points here against a team that probably is fixated in terms of their direction and their mindset elsewhere. I say we go ahead and take those points for 2 units for our 7th bet here on Tuesday. 4, pick number 8, we're heading out to Tempe, Arizona, where we have the Arizona State Sun Devils taking on Kansas State. And what a weird, wacky game on Saturday that we happen to be a part of, as Arizona State absolutely collapsed in on themselves against their rival Arizona. And kind of similarly with the angle we took in that Ole Miss game earlier, I do feel like when you're emotionally built up at home and you drop a game that you were really, you had the other team on the ropes through the entire game, I feel like that takes something out of you. And Kansas State, whether or not that game against Iowa State in Ames was a building block, I don't know. But this team is very talented, and I kind of want to buy into them in the back half of the season, playing for their coach and just playing for themselves. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take the 2.5 points here with the Wildcats for 2 units for our 8th bet here on Tuesday. For pick number 9, we're heading out to the Big Ten, where we have Michigan State taking on UCLA, and UCLA is actually laying points in this game as Michigan State is doing their West Coast road trip right now. The first game out for them in Los Angeles against USC did not go well, and in this particular matchup, I do feel like they're catching UCLA at a bad time because I've been really liking how UCLA has been playing basketball ever since Mick Cronin kind of ripped into his team, and despite the rankings, despite the standings in this conference right now, I do feel like UCLA is kind of budding to potentially win this league when it comes down to the tournament, and for that reason, I think we go ahead and take the Bruins here, laying the 2.5 points. I think we get a statement in this game, and I say we go ahead and bet it for 3 units for our second to last bet here on Tuesday. All right, for our final bet of the day, we are heading out to Provo, Utah, where we have Arizona taking on BYU, and Arizona is coming in this game playing some really great basketball. They've been playing some really great basketball ever since conference play started, and they're coming off 2 emotional wins. They obviously hit that crazy buzzer beater from half court, Caleb Love against Iowa State, and then won that game in overtime. And then last time out, they went to Tempe, Arizona. They beat their arch rivals, and they did it in comeback fashion there too. But when you're looking at this game and you're factoring in that Provo has a fantastic home court advantage, not only from the elevation standpoint, but from the atmosphere, I do think that BYU is going to be able to win this game, and I also think that they're going to be able to do it pretty handily. We are getting a pretty low price, which makes me a little bit suspicious, but I say we go ahead and bite the bullet on the money line here for 2 units for our final bet here on Tuesday. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video, and as I've been saying in these recent videos, man, you guys have been absolutely crushing it in terms of the viewership numbers, the likes on the videos, the subscription numbers going up, and I love engaging with you guys in the comments. If you have any questions, definitely throw them my way, and if you have picks, hey, throw them in there, and I'd love to talk to you guys about certain angles if you have some. But with all that being said, y'all, appreciate the heck out of you, and I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.